Let me see. All right, go live. All right. I went live. Okay, I'm live right now. Say something. I just want to hear what it sounds like for you, and then we'll just do a live test of this audio before we get going.
Got you. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Last of the season 2 finale. Got a big one to break down here and talk through. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Say something. I just want to hear what it sounds like for you, and then we'll just do a live test of this audio before we get going.
Got you. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Last of the season 2 finale.
There it is. All right. So okay. Give me. Now talk again. I'm gonna turn echo cancellation off. I think we should be good if you just talk again.
Alright, testing, testing. Last of them 2 finale. Big one to steps and turns development along the.
Let me see. Hold on.
I'm gonna turn echo cancellation off. I think we should be good. Still work. Master this for you, audio. Thinking.
Fuck. What the fuck? All right. Give me another. Talk again, because that didn't work either. This is ridiculous.
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Last of the season 2 finale. Here to talk through pretty much the biggest episode in terms of the visuals that we saw. Ellie just kind of doing her thing. Dina, you know, everybody around. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Say something again. I think I can hear you now.
Episode 7, HBO, please stop making 7-episode seasons, especially when they are 4 epic scale type shows that have a bit of a element. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Please. All right. I'm gonna wait because it's a delay. I'm gonna. This is insane, bro. Give me one more. Let me see. Just try to get this fucking audio right. Oh man, I don't know what the fuck we're supposed to do. This is crazy. All right. Say something.
Test 3, last of the finale. This will work. I can feel it. I can feel it this time. It's going over Jesse, I hope. R.I.P. Jesse.
Man, what the fuck?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Okay, keep going, because I'm just gonna keep playing around with shit until it fucking works.
See what clicks. Yeah, man. We can do this. We can do this. Red Sox lost again. That's fun. It's cool. Nick. Testing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Because it's a long time to wait. Especially when you get a new character's perspective, but we're gonna make the best of it. We're gonna last it out. We're gonna be just fine.
Man.
Testing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
That's nuts.
Monitor off. Monitor off. Okay. All right. I have echo cancellation off, compressor on, compressor off, noise gate. Yeah, it's weird if I put on the compressor. If I put on the compressor, it's what's fucked up about it is I can hear you. Or no, if I turn cancellation off, then I can hear you fine when we're talking. But then on the live, it sounds echoey. And then if I take it off, it just sounds echoey regardless. So just give me one more. Let me hear this.
Yeah. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Last of Us season 2 finale. Prepping to break down and discuss all that went down here. Got a lot going on. Seattle is very rainy, true to form. So we're going to see a lot of rainy Seattle here today. Did not expect all of the ships and rafts to come rolling in from Isaac's crew. That was a nice little touch. The scars are crazy, man. Seraphites are crazy. They do some wild shit. They got some child militant. They got militant soldiers now. Child soldiers running around here doing crazy stuff, making crazy moves.
All right, I think it worked. I don't like to be honest. It just seems like it seems like I don't know. It was shitty for a little bit and then it just started. I think it started working. So I have no fucking clue. But let's just roll with it and just see. But I have echo cancellation off. So I think this is probably the best that we can get on it. You know what I mean?
We'll just roll with it and see what we get at the end. Then
Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Let me just. I can't. Apologies to the people watching. I just can't fucking believe that this audio is so fucking. I just don't get why we're having issues now. It's so stupid. All right. Whatever. Okay. So you can still hear me fine, right?
Yeah, you're crystal.
Okay. And then I can hear you. So that's good. I'm gonna do. All right. Let's just fucking keep it cooking. Sorry about that. If you're watching the replay, I'm just gonna put a comment, just say like jump ahead or something. But okay, let's get into it. The Last of Us season 2, episode 7, the season finale. Pretty crazy. You know, I have a lot of opinions on just how HBO is fucking doing this thing, but you want to go first, Damon, before we go and break this down? We're the Winter Hill Warriors. I'm Shani Britt. It's my boy Damon. Let's
Yep.
But yeah, you got any opinions on this before we go?
Yeah, I'll sprinkle it in here. Was not my favorite finale as far as the HBO like epic show catalog where you have your Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, things like that. But not very clean. A lot of things started, paused, or stopped at unexpected moments. We do lose a fan favorite, which sucks. So be patient while Chen and I are in mourning, please. The title Convergence felt really fitting because not only do you have the factions converging in the war, but you got a lot of stuff in Ellie's personal life and mentally converging at the same time, which creates a lot of havoc and residual damage along the way for everybody else.
Yeah. And you know, this is what I'll say about the whole HBO thing is I don't fucking understand this whole 7 episode season thing. It really pisses me off. Not only does it piss me off, I think it pisses off a lot of viewers because we have to wait another 2 fucking years to get the next season. And look, neither of us have played the video game. I'm so tempted to just play the video game and just find out what happens. Like, I'm almost tempted just to look at spoilers because I don't think I'm gonna give a shit in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's such fucking bullshit what they're doing. I get that they want to try to keep people on for long. Like, what's the strategy behind this? Are they trying to keep people subscribed for longer so they can make money? Because I don't know if that's really gonna work. Because people will just unsubscribe and then just wait till the show comes out. So if they're trying to cut costs and stuff like that. I just think it's a mistake, man. I think it's always a fucking mistake when you actually stop trying to make the best art you can make, and now you're just, you know, looking at it from a purely corporate perspective, obviously I'm not naive. I know money matters and stuff like that, but man, it's fucking shitty, dude. It's shitty that they're dragging this out. They said they're gonna do 2 more seasons. Like, that's insane to me. Insane.
Total runtime so much. Like, my biggest issues with how this one all boiled down, kind of similar to what you're saying, they didn't build certain character, also weren't able to include a bunch of stuff. We'll get more into this when the part actually happens in the show, but the whole trip along with Ellie's whole revenge arc, from what I understand. So the idea that we have to wait 2 years just to use for a while seems like it's going to turn to a tough sell overall. I like that they warned us that it was going to start with Addie's arc, so people know what to expect. But I am a little frustrated with how everything boiled down at the end. Decent season, but they could have stuck the landing a little better. The 7 episodes is borderline impossible to do that with. We saw House of Dragon have similar issues with that same exact form.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. Fucking, they're gonna do another season. Obviously, I'm invested, but I'm probably just gonna look up what the spoilers are because I don't know where I'm gonna be in 2 years, man. And it's just like that shit was just fucking stupid. They're trying to save money. I just can't believe they can't do 10 episode seasons anymore. They started doing this with House of the Dragon as well. It sucks. It kind of reminds me of what Marvel did for a little bit, and it backfired on them greatly. Just in terms of just not really thinking about the art. Yeah, I'm pretty pissed off, but fuck it. Let's just get into this. So we ended last episode with Ellie cornering fucking Nora, and we don't really know how that went down, but we know Nora was infected. It's implied that Ellie beat the shit out of Nora. So, but we'll find out more as the episode goes on. But now we cut back to Dina and Jesse. So it looks like they have escaped the park where they were under attack from the scars. And Dina has an arrow in her leg. Now, at this point, Jesse doesn't know that she's pregnant yet. But Dina's freaking out and basically saying, like, you can't let me die. I can't die. So Jesse's starting to catch on a little bit. The problem is this. They have to remove the arrow so it doesn't get infected. But if you pull it out from where it came in, then you might tear an artery, and then Dina would bleed to death. So what Jesse has to do is actually push the arrow through, just all the way through. And so this is very brutal. He ends up he pulls out some rubbing alcohol, or not rubbing alcohol. He pulls out actual alcohol to kind of clean the cut, and then offers some to Dina. And Dina historically never turns down a drink, but she's adamant. She's like, no, I'm not taking that drink. Just to numb up before the procedure. So Jesse's like, this is fucking interesting. And Jesse fucking pushes the arrow through, and Dina makes it. So also I gotta say they're at the theater right now where Dina and Ellie were holed up. So this is kind of like the place where they're gonna meet up. And after Dina gets the arrow basically pushed through her leg, we then see Ellie banging on the door, and Ellie's like, I'm alone. They have a code name or whatever, or something that Jesse asked to just make sure that Ellie's not getting held hostage and being forced to lead the either the Scars or the Washington Liberation Front to the theater. So it's like, hey, what's the name of your horse or whatever? Ellie's like, it's Shimmer. Now let me the fuck in. So with that being said, Jesse lets Ellie in. Ellie's not really concerned about Jesse at all. She's looking for Dina. So Dina is resting in the dressing room. Ellie pulls up, finds Dina, and then, Dina's kind of like asleep because obviously she just took an arrow to the fucking leg, so she's very mangled. But Ellie and Dina talk, and they share a nice little moment, but Ellie's like worried about if the baby is alive still. And Dina's like, yeah, it's alive. Ellie's like, how do you know? Dina's like, I just do, whatever, some motherly instinct shit. So then as as they're talking, I think what like so Dina asks Ellie to take her shirt off. Is she checking her to see like how badly she's been injured, Damon? I think that's what it is or whatever. Yeah, some
Yeah, I think she's just kind of reading what's going on with Ellie and is like, yeah, she probably see what happens, but truly remarkable turnaround to have the arrow pulled out of your leg and just be like, yeah, I'm down to
okay,
make
yeah, because
sure
I was like,
Ellie's
did
all
Ellie take
good
a
now.
hit? Like,
True love.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah, I think she just kind
Yeah.
of
Um. So then, what's it called? It continues, and hold on, give me a second. So they start talking a little bit more, and Dina's like, "What? Like, basically, what did you do?" And Ellie says that she saw Nora. She was already infected. It was setting in. Ellie says that she actually didn't kill Nora. Um, Now I don't know if I believe Ellie, but she says basically she just let Nora just just die, right? Like she did beat Nora up, but she didn't kill her. Nora just kind of like got infected and died on her own, or just turned into a fucking zombie. Then Ellie kind of talks a little bit more and reveals basically why they wanted to kill Joel in the first place. Tells Dina about the whole Salt Lake City Firefly base thing. Says that I was the one who had immunity, and they were gonna basically create a potential cure for the virus. It would have meant that I would die, and the doctor who knew how to do it was Abby's father. And Joel found out, killed everyone, killed Abby's dad, shot him like right in the fucking head, no remorse, and it was to save me. So that's why they came for Joel. And Ellie's like, look, I didn't know who they were at that time when they first came, but now I do after finding Nora and all that stuff. This news disgusts Dina. Like, she's very disgusted at hearing about this. And she's just like, look, we got to get out of here. Because at the end of the day, Ellie knows this information. And look, for her to know this information and still kind of lead them on this very dangerous mission for revenge, it's pretty fucked up. And all of a sudden now, Dina's gonna be a parent, right? So Dina as a mom is like, what the fuck? You put me in such a bad situation. So that's kind of that. I'm gonna pause there, Damon, for thoughts.
yeah, if you remember Dina's whole stance on, she thought since her own family was ravaged in a random occurrence, it's her way of helping Ellie get the revenge that she would have always, those monsters. But in fact, I mean, it's targeted both ways. It's more of a revenge on top of revenge scheme based on what Joel did. But, Joel did some bad stuff to get Ellie out of the hospital. But it wasn't as if, Abby's dad was just cooperating, and he did leave the shining light on our boy Joel's name, the late Joel, so that we can kind of stick up for him a little bit. But yeah, it was a tough situation. She still loves it. It has to happen. There are a lot of ups and downs for Ellie as a character over this season, and I think more episodes would have helped this as they throw towards her character. Like, she goes from lusting for revenge at the end of last episode to sobering up and being immensely regretful, and then she goes back time to do that. It would have felt a little smoother, if that makes sense. But I do like that she is showing her differences from Joel in terms of being straight.
Yep. So then, obviously, what's it called? Ellie then. So actually, sorry. We then cut to Seattle day 3. So it just lets us know it's day 3 of them being in Seattle. And Ellie, as Dina is resting, Ellie is now talking to Jesse, and Jesse's pretty mad at Ellie for obvious reasons. And so they still need to find Tommy. They don't know where the fuck Tommy is. I think the rendezvous point is like was supposed to be at the theater. So Dina's limping, and Dina gives Ellie like this bracelet as good luck as they go out and search for Tommy. And what's it called? So I think they have a rendezvous point that's not too far. So that's where they're headed to find Tommy, and it's just gonna be Jesse and Ellie setting off. Dina obviously is like really mangled right now, so she's just gonna stay back, barricade the place, and just try to stay like as safe as she can. So with that being said, then it just cuts to Ellie and Jesse setting off, and then they kind of have like a bit of a a little bit of an argument. So Ellie's first asked like, where's the rendezvous point, and I forget. Do you remember what Jesse says where the rendezvous point is? Okay, bookstore. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the bookstore.
And so like Jesse's mad because he has kind of figured out everything that's going on. So he kind of calls out Ellie. He's like, hey, last night when I was patching Dina up, she said, I can't die, and then she refused whiskey, so what the fuck is going on? She tells you things she wouldn't tell me. Basically, is she pregnant? He kind of baits it from Ellie. He goes, I know she's pregnant. It's just like he just shoots a shot in the dark, and Ellie folds, and then he finds out. And he's like, well, because of you, we're stuck in a war zone, Ellie. And, we got to go find Tommy, and we got to get my kid, or we got to get the fuck out of here, because Tommy's a parent, I'm a parent, I can't die. What did you think about that? I'm going to pause that before they continue on their journey.
You should just never say things like that. I never got a straight up explanation for the pregnancy when it's his kid. Especially because Dina knows they're trying to head back to Jackson
Before Jesse and Ellie dip. Like, she's already made her point clear to Ellie, so it's not like you're really impacting his state of mind that much. But I really like how Jesse is a really good foil for Ellie in this app.
She's impulsive, he's thoughtful, he's calm, she's unsettled. Which I think is an important point that comes back to be relevant later on in the episode.
Yep. Yeah, so it was a lot of foreshadowing of basically what was gonna go down this whole episode. So it is kind of crazy to finally see it all. All right, hold on, give me a second. I'm trying to fix the audio as this is going on, but all right. So they keep trekking through to go to the bookstore to meet Tommy, and as they're making it through, there's some fighting going on because there's an active war zone. So they hide behind some like, what is it, like a dumpster or some shit like that. Yeah, they hide behind these dumpsters, and they see a few of the WLF have caught this young boy who is a member of the Scars. They strip him naked, and they're definitely gonna kill him and torture him. It's actually the lead officer of this little group is actually the guy who Isaac basically took under his wing. So Ellie's witnessing this, and this is when I just started getting really mad at Ellie. She's like about to run out and save the kid, which I hate Ellie's character. I'm sorry, I hate fucking Ellie. Just absolute moron. Just, I know that she's supposed to be impulsive and doesn't think, but just how stupid can you be? Literally, if she jumped out right there, her and Jesse would have been killed. Jesse did, after all, save her fucking life. And Jesse has to basically beg Ellie not to go out and intervene. And so she, like, right after basically talking to Jesse and being like, yeah, I understand you're about to be a father, and, I got to be more careful, and I've been selfish, and I got to think about you and stuff like that, and think about the child and all that. She almost fucking gets them all killed just because of her emotions. And so I hate Ellie. It's like, I actually decided that. I texted you midway through the episode last night. I was like, I fucking hate Ellie. So yeah, there's that. And I think Jesse's fucking pissed at Ellie right now. So Ellie then almost storms out anyways. And Ellie's like, we got to go save the kids. And Jesse's like, I'm not fucking dying. for any of them. It's not our war. Let's just get the fuck out of here. So I'm gonna pause it there. What did you think about all that?
I think what you're saying, I mean, I definitely see that point because it's a lot in this episode, the way that, like, the importance that she sees things in. Like, she just went from a really honest, like, revelation to appear to be at first, and I'm sorry I lied to you, which is pretty reasonable, pretty rational. And then she just goes to really a mistake that could have been what you're getting into. If you fire those guns, you're giving up your position. You're not going to be able to rendezvous with Tommy. You've effectively put Tommy and Dina themselves for the foreseeable future because now you're wrapped up in a whole different conflict. So I see what they're trying to do, but it just could have been done better. If that makes sense.
All right, so then we cut over to the rest of Seattle, where we kind of see what's going on with the Washington Liberation Front, and this is, they're gearing up for war. So it looks like they're about to carry out some sort of raid on the Scars. So everybody's grouping up. They're rolling deep. We see Isaac. He's kind of doing some planning, looking very stressed, and this is where Officer or Lieutenant Park, the woman who had lost her son in the previous episode, she comes over and she's like, "Hey, look, everyone's ready. Everyone's ready to go. We're all ready for this mission. I think some people are a little bit scared." And Isaac's like, "I'm scared. Aren't you scared?" Blah blah blah. Isaac's not really. He doesn't seem to be mentally there. His head seems to be somewhere else, and he's worried about Abby. So apparently, Abby's crew, which includes Owen, includes obviously we know Nora is dead, but there's also Mel and then Manny. They've been missing. Well, other than Manny, they know where Manny is, but they haven't been able to find Owen or Mel and Abby. So she's been missing for a day, and Isaac is very, very upset that she's not here. And Park is like, "Look, why do you care so much about Abby? We have an entire fucking army out here. She's just one girl." She seems a little bit jealous. Park seems a little bit jealous that Isaac cares so much about Abby, and she's like, "Look, do you have a crush on her? Maybe that's what's going on." And Isaac's like, "Look, no, it's not that. It's just that everyone else here is sheep, and look, there's a good chance that you and I will both be dead by tomorrow because of whatever raid we're about to carry out. And if we're all dead, who's going to lead them, right? Who's going to secure our future? It's not going to be any of them. It was supposed to be Abby." So basically, Abby is like his prodigy. This pisses Park off because she's like, "Well, dude, she's not even here, Isaac. So clearly, she's not meant to be." So it just bothers Park that Isaac looks so fondly upon Abby. What did you think about that?
You understand where she's coming from a little bit when you think back to his death warrant just one episode ago. So the fact that he's moved on so quickly and Isaac seems to see a lot of the soldiers as just bodies in his army that can't really lead, can only follow, definitely rubs a little bit of salt in the wounds. I think he's also seen the weaknesses of the Wolf ideology compared to the Seraphites. For lack of a better term, he knows the Seraphites just have more dog in them. They're more committed. You need to value types of people with leadership qualities, which I guess he's seen in Abby. But he's definitely still shook from realizing that the Seraphites are down to die for whatever, and that his own soldiers are, we'll just say imperfect, if you will.
Yep. All right, so then we cut back to Jesse and Ellie, and they storm into, is this the bookstore? Yeah, they storm into the bookstore and Tommy's not there. So they're like, okay, well, he's not at the rendezvous point, so this is a problem. And they start kind of bickering again, or at least their tensions are high, and another storm is brewing. And Ellie's looking at some of the books, and she finds this one book where it's like a children's book, the monster at the end of this book, a little bit symbolic there. And then Jesse's kind of throwing some barbs, stuff like that. Anyways, they start talking a little bit more, and Ellie's, what's it called? Jesse's like, maybe Tommy's dead, maybe we'll all be dead, so at least get me, off this table or whatever. I don't know. They're just kind of bantering, and Ellie's like, look, I know you're jealous or you're a little bit jealous because me and Dina have like this love, and Jesse's like, look, obviously I love Dina, but not the way that you love Dina. And this kind of surprises Ellie. And Jesse tells Ellie, look, there was this actual girl. There was a group that stopped by Jackson, I think, a few weeks ago on their way south to Mexico. It was just a random group traveling, and they were like traders. And there was a girl that was with them, and she was a couple years older than Jesse, but Jesse and her basically had a time, So she was selling paintings and stuff like that. Jesse and her, had a nice little time. They probably stayed for like a few days or whatever, and that was a girl who Jesse was really in love with. So he knows, like, he loves Dina, he cares about her, but they both know that they're not like super in love with each other like that, So Jesse was in love with this girl. He says the best 2 weeks of his life.
Yeah.
But then she had to go, and this girl asked Jesse to come with them, and Jesse did. He really wanted to go with her, but more than anything, he still felt an obligation to the people of Jackson. Jackson, they took him in, they cared for him, and everyone in Jackson is counting on Jesse to be the next leader of the city after Maria. So he has an obligation for the other people. This is where Ellie fucking pisses me off again. She's like, oh, so you think you're the fucking saint of Wyoming and everyone else is an asshole? And Jesse's like, okay, make fun of me. But if I went to Mexico with that girl, you would be dead in Seattle because I came in and saved you. And that shuts Ellie up. Which was good because Ellie just really pissed me off this whole fucking episode. She's kind of pissed me off this whole season. But then at that moment, they get some word from the radio that they still stole from like one of the WLF soldiers, and they hear that we are under fire in South Lake Marina. So it's near the water, and they say it's a sniper, not a Scar. Now, because it's a sniper, this gives it away that it's most likely Tommy, because Tommy was a sniper in the Army, and he's the only one here who has that type of weaponry. Or at least, like, it's the Scars don't, right? The Scars are just using bows and arrows. So if the sniper's not a WLF soldier, then it's got to be Tommy. So Jesse's like, yo, it's got to be Tommy. This is South Lake. There's 2 piers right there. It's got to be one of the piers. Pack your shit. We got to go. So before they go, they head to the rooftop of this building. Hold on, let me try to see if I could find it. So they head to the highest level of this building to kind of get a view of the marina and the pier. Now, this is an important time for me to mention that I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the stream, but before Ellie killed Nora, she kept asking her where Abby was, and she was basically beating her up until she told her. And at that time, the cordyceps was starting to set in, and Nora was already like beaten. So all she muttered was like the whale in the wheel, right? Something like that. So fucking Ellie didn't know what that meant, but now as she's looking out onto the pier through the binoculars, she understands. Wait, the wheel. So the whale. So she figures out that, okay, what Nora was trying to tell Ellie was that Abby is at the aquarium. So immediately Ellie stops giving a shit about Tommy and is immediately thinking about revenge for Joel, and tells Jesse, I'm going to the aquarium because I know Abby is there. And Jesse's like, no, Tommy's, over there. He's on the other side of the pier. We're going there. And Ellie's like, we got, Tommy would want me to do this. And even, we don't need to help Tommy. He's got them pinned down. If I know Tommy, then he's going to take them all out. And Jesse's like, look, they're going to call for backup. The WLF is going to bring more people there. Tommy's going to need our help. And Ellie's just like, nope, he would want me to do this. Now, here's where a crazy reveal happens, where Ellie goes, look, if 3 more people had voted with you back at Jackson, then, you'd be coming with me anyways to go get revenge. And this is when Jesse says, I voted no to the Joel mission. Now, I think you and I both thought he voted yes. So I do wonder who the third person... Right? Yeah. So I do wonder who the third person who voted.
We're on record.
Yes, was. It might have been that lady who like started quoting the authors or whatever. But Jesse basically says, look, I voted no because you're a selfish person. Everything you do is for you. And it wasn't in the best interest of the community. And Ellie's like, fuck the community. You know, Joel is my community. You think you're good. I'm bad. You let a kid die because he wasn't in your community. You know, blah, 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 blah. Just a lot of like, you know, I'm a good person, you know, whatever. I got like, you're the same as me and, you know, you're not a good person, whatever. All this shit. I thought this was crazy on Ellie's part. Very, very dangerous. But Jesse's not going to go with her. So they agree to split up. Jesse leaves to go find Tommy and help Tommy because Tommy's like currently fighting off some WLF. And Ellie is left to go find Abby alone. I'm going to pause here. What are your thoughts?
Ellie thinks that her only community is Joel, but then you look around and you see what other people have sacrificed.
To help her get to this point. I've just taken the lens of when she's acting irrational and doing this, it's like a 19-year-old kid. Like I was an idiot when I was 19. I still kind of am, but she's taking it to a different level, right? That's where I get a little bit like the character-based whiplash with her, so to speak. I think Jesse should have voted yes. I've been team pursuit of revenge the whole time. But in the same vein, turning your back on Tommy, somebody who has been with you for a while, who has had your best interest at heart, is absolutely bonkers. I like how in the bookstore there's that quote on the wall, everything's got a moral if only you can find it. That's the quote that we see. This hooks into Jesse's whole purpose. From the get-go, he has been like a moral instructor to Ellie. He's somebody that hopefully changes the way that she sees the world a little bit, and she hopefully learns to emulate a little bit because he just has kind of a calming, balanced perspective on her. Sometimes too balanced, like sometimes he's a little too chill and a little too apathetic in certain situations, but she needs a little more of this within her psyche to be able to succeed here.
Right. All right, so Ellie is now rolling solo to go after Abby, and it's now raining. I do gotta say the set pieces they had for this were pretty fucking sweet. So she gets over to the pier. It's now nighttime, and she's kind of staking out what's going on at the pier. And we see Isaac and the rest of the WLF all boarding these boats to go sail or not sail, but fucking to go attack the Scars. So apparently there's some island nearby off of Seattle that the Scars basically are at, and that's like their HQ or something. So Isaac and them just head out to go launch this raid on the Scars, and while this is happening, I think Ellie just ends up finding like an empty or unused motorboat, and she jumps on to go after Abby, because I think the only way to get to the aquarium is to basically take the boat across the pier. So as she's doing this, a fucking massive wave comes and just completely, capsizes her boat. And this was such a fucking weird, just random ass scene that HBO included. I don't really understand why they did this, but she washes up on shore of the island that the Scars are at, right? So when she washes on shore, some little boy spots her and immediately like rats her out. So much for Ellie wanting to save children. And immediately like a few of the Scars pull up and they just like grab her, and they're about to kill her. They're about to fucking kill her. And she's trying to scream and say like, I'm not part of the WLF. I'm not part of the WLF, but they're going to do what they do, which is hang her and then gut her. Like that's what they're about to do. And they're not even saying words to her. Like they're not acknowledging her at all. They're not saying a single thing. She's like, I'm not a wolf. I'm not a wolf. There's this creepy woman with the Scars, and she has like that little like scythe or whatever, sickle, and about to fucking gut Ellie. I remember thinking, honestly, I was like, dude, just fucking kill her, please. But she was pissing me off so much in this episode. But as that's happening, a warning horn starts bellowing throughout the village, because right around this time is when basically Isaac and the rest of the WLF have launched an attack on the Scars. So they are distracted. They understand that they're under attack. So they literally just leave Ellie. They don't have time to murder Ellie. They just leave her. and they just sprint back to the village, and she basically is saved, ironically, by Isaac. So now she sprints back and finds the boat. That was just a weird scene. Did you have any thoughts on that? That was just fucking odd that they just included that. Maybe it was to like tell us where they're at geographically, but it just seemed like a random ass like I don't even know how to explain it. What do you think about that?
I think if this was episode 3, I would be like, interesting choice, I guess. But in a finale, I think there's a better way to use that time. Because, like you said, you get awareness of location, you get awareness of, I guess, the development of the war and that the scars mean business. But those are things that we could have been told in 30 seconds in a different way. We already know the scars are psychotic. Like, just look at that moment when, the little child soldier kind of gives the thumbs down from Gladiator. But we've seen that they do terrible stuff all season long. So I don't really know what we gained from that. So I definitely see where you're coming from on that one. My caption for this scene was Ellie tries to play Captain Ahab and ends up in Castaway instead. So that's what we got there.
Yeah, it was odd. But once again, hey, look, I blame HBO because if they just had fucking 10 episode seasons per usual, maybe we could explore a little bit of this island, but
Yep.
they want to condense everything and just be fucking cheap fucks. All right. So Ellie takes that little detour and is able to basically escape, and she gets back on the boat, and this time arrives at the pier that leads her to the aquarium. So she scales she scales the building, right? It's like it's a pretty, the aquarium is pretty old, so she scales in from the roof, and no one can really hear her because there's a lot of fighting going around outside. There's a storm, so she has the cover of all of that. Oh yeah, she actually breaks through a skylight, which is pretty funny. So she lands and then is she prepares her weapons, right? She dries her bullets off, dries her gun off to make sure that all of that is working, and now she is sneaking through the aquarium, basically looking for Abby. And as she's sneaking through, she starts hearing some voices, and she also sees a lot of what would you call this? Like just health, hospital type of supply stuff for bleeding and shit. So clearly someone's been injured or whatever. Some fighting's been going on. That's what I kind of read it as. But she keeps making her way through like this little basement hallway, maybe loading dock place of the aquarium. And let me see. Let me jump ahead to where it's at. Yes. So then she finds this door that's been kind of kept open by the cinder block. She hears some noises there. Makes her way through, and then hears someone saying, "I'm being some kind of heartless bitch, and this isn't about them anyways, Owen." So that is actually the voice of Mel. So now we hear Mel and Owen. Now I do wonder what they're plotting. We haven't played the video game, Damon, so I am curious if you have any theories on whatever it was they're plotting. Once again, that's why I'm kind of pissed off at HBO, because I would love to have to not wait 2 years to fucking find this shit out. That's probably why I'm literally just going to read up the wiki after this. But so Owen and Mel are talking, and they're kind of talking about Abby, and it seems like Abby's gone off the deep end and wants to do some crazy shit, and neither Owen nor Mel are down with it, but Owen is still really loyal to Abby in her command, and it seems like he would die for her. And Mel is more just like, dude, let's just not fucking do what she says. That's what it kind of seems like to me. Do you have any theories on that before I get into this confrontation between Ellie and Owen and Mel?
So it mentions going behind enemy lines. I'm guessing that this is supposed to be an idea to maybe go to that island, the one we just saw Ellie on, as the rest of the Scars flee to go protect the village from what Isaac is doing. So maybe like a pincher movement or something like that. But that's still a pretty big gamble.
Okay, that's actually interesting. So you think maybe Abby was like always still loyal to the WLF and Isaac, but then just was like, all right, I'm gonna go lead this even crazier mission, maybe.
Yeah, that's really all that I could think of. Because if you aren't loyal to WLF, then you have to join the mission of the Scars, which involves like the scarring, not to be too obvious here. So that's really the only way you can go, unless this is like an escape plan. But I can't really see it going that way.
Okay, yeah. Once again, I would love to fucking find out this season. Like that would have been great.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so Mel's just like, look, you have a choice, so do I, Owen. You don't have to just blindly listen to Abby and, all this. And Owen's like, fine, I'll just fucking do it on my own. So he's like, he's about to go on some sort of pretty crazy mission. He says he can make it there and back in 30. So it seems like he's trying to get on the island. And Owen's just like, you're either with us or you're not. And then Mel is like, fuck you. And then as Mel is about to walk off, she sees Ellie right there with the gun pointed at her. And this is wild. I kind of love Owen's reaction to when Ellie pulls up. He looks at her, recognizes her, and is like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me! Like, what are the like?" He's just like genuinely the actor who does this, like, such a good, just startled impression, Because like if that happened to you or me, my first thought wouldn't be terror. My first thought would be like, "What the fuck?"
Wow.
Yeah, like,
Wow.
whoa. It's like, whoa.
From Wyoming? Like,
Yeah.
what?
It's like 6 months ago. Like, imagine just like you talk shit randomly to someone from 6, 7 months ago. Well, I guess they did more than talk shit. They fucking brutally murdered her father figure. But yeah. But like in this world, you're like, I'm never gonna see her again. And then you're in the middle of planning a battle where you might die. Like there's a good chance you fucking die. And then you're just like, are you fucking kidding me at this time? So Ellie's like, look, just tell me where the fuck Abby is. And Owen has no plans to do that. So he tries to fucking reason with Ellie. And he's like, look, I'm the one who kept you alive, which is true. Owen was the one guy in that crew that was like reasonable. If it was up to Manny, Ellie would already be dead. So they're like, look, we don't know where Abby is. Ellie knows that's a fucking lie. Yeah, she's like, yes, you do. And then she kind of does the same thing Joel does in season 1, right? She's like, she sees the map and she goes, you're both going to point to where Abby is. And, or one of you is going to point to where she is first. And the other one is going to point and it better match. So you guys, better not be lying. So Ellie's like, look, you have 5 seconds. She starts counting down. At first, Owen's like, she's going to kill us either way. So it seems like he's down to die. And then, fucking, as Ellie's counting down, Owen's like, fine, I'll fucking do it. I'll do it. So he slowly moves over towards the map, and he tries to reach for a gun under the table. Ellie immediately fucking shoots him, and the bullet goes right through his neck. Mel's like, holy fuck. Then Mel looks back and notices that the bullet actually also hit the wall. And now she's like, wait, I was standing right behind Owen. And she realizes that the bullet grazed her carotid artery. So she's about to bleed out. And so she falls on the ground. Ellie's like, oh, fuck. Because Ellie did not mean to kill Mel. And as Mel falls on the ground and is in the process of dying, we see her stomach and she has a baby bump. So Mel is using the remainder of her energy to be like, get the fuck over here, Ellie. I have 30 seconds. Please get over here. And she's like, she tells Ellie to grab a knife from out of her own pocket and basically is just like, cut open my stomach so the baby can live. Now, I went on Reddit after this episode, Damon, and people who were midwives and stuff like that, or in the hospital as nurses or PAs or whatever, were like, the chances of that baby surviving were minuscule. But Mel is like, just work fast, cut open my stomach and get the baby out. So the actress portraying Mel did a fucking incredible job. I gotta say, she fucking crushed this.
Yes.
This was kind of a heartbreaking scene. And Ellie's like freaking out. She's like, how deep do I cut? Mel's like, deeper than you think. And but then Mel dies. And she's trying to give instructions to Ellie. And even though Ellie just killed her, she's trying to like even say encouraging words to Ellie, like, you're doing good, you're doing really good, and then she just fucking dies, and Ellie is not able to cut out the baby. I'm gonna pause here. Do you have thoughts on this? This was a crazy scene.
Another scene that just underlines that this is a tough, gross world full of tragedy. So Ariella Bear, excellent job, like you said, as Mel doing what she can. It's especially wild to me because this scene, you can be upset with Ellie for some of the impulsive stuff in this episode, but I think that Owen is the real reason all of this shit goes south, right? He lies to Ellie about not knowing Abby's location. He tries to convince Mel that Ellie's going to pull the trigger no matter what. I don't necessarily believe that because even last episode, Ellie was going after Nora with the intent of getting Abby's whereabouts. I don't think she was going to kill Nora if Nora just would have coughed up the information right there and then.
Yes.
I remember before that whole sequence started, right? Abby's location was probably where that was going to end. Nora just wouldn't give it up and then escalated things. Then finally, he pulls the gun, which is such a sloppy draw, by the way, when somebody has a gun already loaded, cocked, and aimed at you. Like, there was no chance he was going to pull that out fast enough. So, especially if it was his baby, right? That's a very selfish, very stupid move on his part. Unless you just really don't trust Ellie like that. But she was not giving me homicidal maniac vibes here. Maybe they just know what happened to Nora, but they were surprised to see her, so I don't think they do.
Yeah, I mean, so nowhere, like, I went on the subreddit and people were saying that that was Owen's baby, but in the episode they don't reveal that it's his baby, right? Do they?
No, and he's very flirtatious not flirtatious, but very touchy towards Abby.
Right.
In that first episode of the season. So maybe that's like a retcon. Maybe there's something that's been reconfigured with that information and that lore.
Right.
Maybe we'll never know. But that was just very, very interesting to me. And then the Dina Mel parallels, you can't really ignore those, right? Just like the fact that Dina wants to get the hell out of there now. Mel does not want to go behind enemy lines or risk anybody or risk any death when she has this kid on the way, which makes a lot of sense in retrospect. Ellie is now in the same bucket as Joel with a lot of the stuff that she's done. Not really good, not really evil, just existing in this gray zone. This is what the desire for revenge can bring you, even though it was an accident, even though Owen was an idiot and caused a lot of this to happen. She's just picking up the pieces, which I think contributes to like how raw and just sorrowful the whole scene is, to the point that you mentioned before.
Yeah. So brutal fucking experience for Ellie once again. You brought this upon yourself, kid. Fuck you. So yeah, she just pissed me off so much. But Owen was a fucking moron too. Like, especially if that's actually his kid. Like, you cannot be toying around like that. Like, come on, bro. Like, that's an insane move for a soon to be father to do. You want to die? Fine. But you got your wife, or not your wife, but you got the mother of your kid and your unborn child murdered as well. So at this moment, Tommy and Jesse pull up right around this time. So it seems like because they were nearby, that they were able to track Ellie down. This part was always a little bit shaky to me. It felt like a little bit of like, hey, we're just gonna jump to the next part of the story type of thing, because I'm thinking, like, how the fuck did they just get there so easily? But look, Tommy is an army sniper. Jesse's pretty capable with the assault rifle as well. So, it was probably just one of those things where maybe the rest of the WLF was distracted because they were about to fight that other war. So maybe it was just easy for them to get over there. And Jesse obviously knew where Ellie was going to be at. So,
All right, I've seen in like a video game where like characters will come find you at the end during a cutscene, like reunite.
That's what I'm saying. It just felt kind of odd. Once again,
is it possible that the Seraphites thing was supposed to take longer in the video game, and it made more sense in the video game, and now it just feels like, how the hell did they get there so quick?
I know from reading. I was on like the video game thread last night, like the spoilers thread.
Got you.
Because I was just so fucking mad about this, and I actually didn't see any spoilers. Like, even in the fucking spoilers thread, it's not like people weren't like outlining the plot, because everyone already knows what happens, so they're just kind of talking as if they already know what happens. So they're just mentioning random things that I can't really put together. But it seemed to me, based on what everyone was saying, that in the actual game, you end up playing as Abby from her POV, like for the 2 days in Seattle. So that's like what a huge part of the number 2. Yeah. So the game is fucking fire because it's a 20-hour game because you only play half of it as like Ellie, and then I think you play the other part as like Abby or something. So it's incredible. But I would have loved, right, if they had added a little bit of Tommy and fucking Jesse fighting through and getting over to the aquarium, man. You know, like show me some of this shit. But whatever. They pull up. Tommy, for what it's worth, fucking, he definitely views Ellie as family because he immediately goes and comforts Ellie, and he's just like, it's gonna be okay. And he actually gives Ellie props. He's like, he's basically like, look, they, it sucks that they died, but they were part of the crew that did that to Joel, and they made their choices. You know, that's kind of it. So they all return to the theater, and things seem like they're gonna be okay. It's Tommy, it's Jesse, it's Ellie, Dina is waiting for them. So seems like it's gonna be okay. Everyone's kind of getting ready to go or get the fuck out of here. I think Tommy and Jesse and everyone is trying to map out a way to get out of the city. And Tommy's like, it's not a good idea to move her in this weather, so pray for sunshine. I don't know, man. I think it might have been better to move out in this weather, under the cover of this weather. But hey, they know better than me. Also, apparently the horse Shimmer is fine. So the horse somehow survived this whole fucking thing. So then I think Ellie has this conversation with, I'm going to skip through this conversation with Tommy because this is when Tommy basically comforts Ellie and is like, they made their choices. They were there for it. What bothers Ellie is that Abby gets to live, and Abby's ultimately the one who did all of this. And Tommy's like, look, are you going to be able to make peace with that? Because we're getting the fuck out of here. And Ellie's like, I guess we'll have to. So that's that. Tommy goes off to go handle some business, and Ellie has a one-on-one conversation with Jesse, and she's like, thanks for coming back. And Jesse's like, you know, who says I wanted to come back? Maybe I didn't want to come back and help you. Maybe Tommy made me. But Ellie sees through the lie and is like, that's not what happened. Jesse's like, okay, fine. I decided to come back. So Jesse is a great fucking guy. Despite all that shit going on, he was still like willing to put his own life on the line and go and rescue Ellie. And Jesse says one of the reasons why is because I thought about it. And if I were out there somewhere lost and in trouble, you would set the world on fire to save me, which is definitely true of Ellie. Ellie would definitely do that. So, their peaceful moment of reconciliation is then rudely interrupted by some noise and shouting and from the other room. So they sprint over to go see what's going on because they hear Tommy shouting. And this is a brutal scene, man, because they bust through the theater doors and Jesse gets shot right in the fucking head. And Jesse is now dead as fuck. He's been foreshadowing it all episode, saying, I'm not going to die here. I'm a parent now. I can't die. I refuse to die. And he died. And R.I.P. to Jesse. R.I.P. to a wonderful Asian man. Ellie then looks, and it turns out it's fucking Abby in like a leather jacket. Abby's a fucking monster. She has to go. I'm sorry. She's got to die too.
She's a problem.
She is a fucking problem. She's got the gun pointed at Tommy. And so I wonder where Dina's at right now. Dina's probably just hidden away, and Tommy's just like, just let her go, stuff like that. So Tommy's still alive, and Ellie right now is begging for forgiveness. She's like, look, I was looking for you. I didn't mean to hurt your friends. I know why you killed Joel. He did what he did to save me. So Abby and Ellie know everything that happened, and Ellie is just like crying. She's like, I'm the one you want. Let Tommy go. And Abby's just like, she doesn't understand because the entire time she's like, I let you live. I could have killed you. And she goes, I let you live and you wasted it. And you hear Ellie yelling, no, no, no. And then she points the gun at Ellie and a gunshot goes off. I'm going to pause here before we get to the final scene of this season. What did you think about all that?
Cut to black. I think the quote from Tommy at the start, they made their choices, that's all there is to it, is kind of a double-edged sword here, where you have what happened to Jesse, what happened to Tommy. We know Tommy's not dead yet. We don't know if he does die, but we know that he did catch a bullet based on those choices to come to Ellie's aid, defend her, protect her, which you can't blame him for. It's all about where you can make your peace, right? Even if Abby kills Ellie, even if Ellie kills Abby, they're still going to have to cope with the loss of their father/father figure. No void's going to be filled completely. Jesse, man, before he went, was just giving Ellie that little pep talk too, man. They both care about others. Ellie just has too much tunnel vision and runs too hot. Jesse maintains a balanced perspective. And this is what he gets, man. This is how he gets repaid. Pour one out for Jesse, young Rosino. Fantastic work this season. Similar to how Joel was her father figure, he was that father figure role for a short amount of time, or at least like an older brother figure that could sort of help her heal, things of that nature. I'm just sad, man. I'm sad that that's how it all kind of twisted up and ended. But you can see why Abby is so upset. Like the "I let you live and you wasted it" line leads us to believe that like she thinks that her and Ellie are square. She thinks that it's a tie game and that there was no reason for her to do what she did. And I think Owen is the straw that broke the camel's back.
I mean, like they both lost fathers, right? It kind of was a tie game. I hate to say it, but it kind of was a tie game. Like I would still say what Joel did was, that was crazy, right? Like
it was horrible. It was awesome because we were rooting for him.
Right. But he had to die. He fucked over everyone else on the planet. Like
a lot of people. You just don't get to come back from that.
Yeah, like he fucked over everyone else on the planet, and he didn't have to kill Abby's father. I guess the way he was thinking about it was like, well, if this guy still has the knowledge of everything, then he'll probably come after Ellie. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, man, but it's just complicated. There's no right or wrong answer. Obviously, Ellie's not fucking dead. But I do wonder, like, I just thought this shit was kind of cheesy, man. Like the fucking gunshot. Because you got to think about it, right? Like, so she's got the gun pointed at Ellie. It's almost like the Sopranos type of ending. I don't want to ruin the Sopranos, but just there's the gunshot, fade to black. Yeah. I'm guessing if it's not, like, Ellie can't die in her own show right now. So did Dina come and shoot? And I doubt Dina is the one who kills Abby. So I don't know what's like. What happens here? Like someone had to have stepped in and been the one who shot, right? Like Abby has to have missed the shot.
Yeah, I would say either her or Ellie got shot in a non-fatal place. That's probably what it is.
Okay. Then we end the season on this scene. Oh shit. Let me see. Do I even have it? Oh yeah, it's right here. And it's a mini flashback, just from like 2 days prior. So we're currently at the end of Seattle Day 3. This flashes us back to Seattle Day 1. So we now are going to experience Season 3, I think, from the eyes of Abby. And I think in the game, right, you switch over as Abby. I think that's what actually happens. But we see Abby, she's taking a nap in these like barracks. And I think it's Manny who fucking wakes her up and is like, hey, Isaac needs to talk to you. Abby's like, all right, just chill. And she gets up and she steps out and they are at the stadium. I think it's called like Sound something stadium. I forget what it's called. But she looks out over the top of the stadium and the stadium has like, we see a little farm being grown. There's like livestock. It looks like basically a massive farm that's being run. There's some wind turbines. So wherever it is, the WLF have established a little safe haven community, almost like a Jackson, Wyoming, where they're able to grow their own food, stuff like that. And they probably have like some people just living here that are safe. So this is kind of like their little mini oasis. The fact that they got the wind turbines running is very, very impressive. And Abby looks out at it, and it almost seems like this is going to be her kingdom that she's going to one day rule. And it says Seattle Day 1, and then the season ends. What did you think about all that?
Yeah, building the empire out of where Richard Sherman and Cam Chancellor would have dominated just a couple decades earlier, a decade and a half earlier. It kind of felt like The Dark Knight Rises, where they show you Heinz Field before Bane just blows it up. But
yeah,
I think that we're going to get a very, the word interesting is kind of cowardly here. I think we're going to get a very high stakes season in terms of people are either going to love it or they're going to hate it based on how well they can get into that Abby story. You can definitely see an avenue for Isaac to get set up as a father figure type role to her as well after, she looks like she's clearly looking for a purpose or something. She's well read. We know that she's smart. So we have some small character traits, but we don't really know what she's all about, right? Like you said, the game did something similar, but it's so much riskier when you're taking 2 years off in between continuing that plot line because viewer interest is going to lag. Attention spans get shorter every day. So the idea of doing this, and also like the timing of your flashbacks and your character arcs, the fact that it's going to have been over 2 years since she killed Joel, since like all this happened. I know chronologically in the movie or in the show, it's going to seem like sooner, but that's a long time for information to sit in your head. Like you're going to have to rewatch last season to be able to fully enjoy next season because of the break, right? This to me felt more like a penultimate episode or a mid-season episode rather than a finale because of some of that pacing stuff we pointed out, right? Whoever's doing the 7-episode seasons, please stop. Whoever's convincing anybody of it, please stop. Whoever's the boss of that person, please reconsider reassigning their
What
job
if it's the
opportunity or
boss
something.
that's doing this? What if it's like the boss that's doing this?
Then that's just like
Fuck that
rock
guy.
from the core in terms of like your artistic mission. Like you just can't be doing that, right? It's not. I think we came out against this in House of Dragon and some other stuff earlier, and True Detective season 4, and I totally stand on that. I know you do. But it was a very video gamey episode with the side quests and everything. But I think all of that really stands out when you don't have enough room to land the plane. The moral growth that Ellie experiences through Jesse is really cool. Comes at the cost of Jesse and an unborn child, though, which was kind of a sorrowful element. But to me, this is like your midpoint episode, maybe like
Episode
fifth or
6
sixth episode in
Yeah.
like an 8 or 10 episode arc. They just didn't really get to do it justice. So I don't really hold any ill will towards like the creators, like you're saying. I hold it towards the final boss here, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, I just think I don't know what the ratings on this show are and what the ratings for HBO's recent shows have been. I'm trying to think. It happened with House of the Dragon. Happened with The Penguin. It was like 6 episodes or whatever. They kind of did this bullshit with the first season of The Last of Us, except they did 9 episodes, right? They slowly was like, oh, we're just gonna give you one last episode, and now they're doing it again. And I just feel like the excitement about these shows. HBO used to pump out these amazing shows that everyone would talk about. Now, I ask people if they're watching The Last of Us. A lot of them are like, I haven't really been keeping track of it. I think HBO should be very careful. Because Apple TV, to me, has been generating more buzz on their TV shows over the last year. Like, a lot more buzz.
Well, they hired one of the people from HBO who was like the head of a lot of creative decisions back when some of those shows you're talking about were in their prime, like The Sopranos, and do you think about shows like Boardwalk Empire even?
Right.
And just things that kind of came through and were very huge events, early Game of Thrones stuff. Think back to just all of the above, like all those classics. That's who was in charge. So I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to do like the mass produced, like you said, the Marvel option, which even Marvel Man has totally just decided to start using A24 like cinematography techniques and things like that, and has stopped with this like mass produced slop model that they were running for a little while. And it worked. People just are not trying to be inundated with just useless stuff when it's this kind of art. Like, listen, if it's reality TV, do what you got to do. But when it comes down to like a high quality narrative or something where people want to be captivated by the action and the character development, it just doesn't pay off. It never will.
Yeah, and I think, a lot of people were talking, like White Lotus obviously still has serious pull, but a lot of people this year were talking about Severance, and I just feel like it just pisses me the fuck off. Stop doing this shit. Stop with these 7-episode fucking seasons. It's absolute horseshit to make people wait 2 more years for this stuff. They used to pump out Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones had like 12 episode seasons early on, bro. And you could talk about budget, cost cutting, all this stuff, but hey, man, either you want to make a great show or you don't. And this was fucking bullshit to me. Like, it's just absolute bullshit that we have to wait 2 years for this shit. I'm not going to give a fuck, honestly. I think, will we cover it? Yeah, we'll cover it. I think I'm just going to go read the spoilers after we're finished with this stream. I'm going to find out what happens because this just really pissed me off. I don't know. That just set me off. I felt like halfway through the episode, Damon, it was going pretty well. And then just seeing the ending, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you guys really going to do this? Yeah, it's just disappointing, man. It's just really fucking disappointing. And yeah, whoever's in charge, if it is the head honcho in charge, you should get rid of that guy because this is also the same company that for some reason branded away from HBO to Max for no fucking reason at all. Literally no one asked for that. I don't know if they were worried about subscription revenue, but your name changing from HBO to Max is going to do nothing for that. And now I think they were changing back to HBO. Like, I just don't understand.
Back to HBO Max.
Yeah, like, just what the fuck is going on, man? Just the people making decisions are just really dumb. And I don't know how they got there. Actually, they probably just, like, did a lot of, like, corporate ladder bullshit to get there. They shouldn't be there. There's people making big decisions that shouldn't be in those positions at all, in all walks of life, honestly. And it is disappointing that this happened to HBO. I hope their ratings continue to fucking crash for a lot of their shows. I just think everything that they've been touching recently it's just been garbage, bro. They just make shows into garbage. And it's just sad, man. Like, what did they do to Warrior season 3, bro? Like, my God.
Then didn't give it a season 4
and then
after
didn't
an inconclusive ending to it. Like, man, like, if you're gonna do season 3 like that, you need a season 4.
Right, or just fucking don't even do season 3, bro. Like, I liked Cinemax's fucking OG storytelling better than the recent bullshit that we've gotten from HBO. And look, maybe the creator of this series was like, oh yeah, I'm down to do a 7-episode season. I don't really feel like it makes sense. It's just like the relevance of this show, Damon, in 2 more years, I really question if it's going to matter. Because we have people who in our friend group did not watch this season, right?
Yeah.
Like, did not give a fuck about this season. Will probably never watch this season. Like, so, I mean, this is a story, dude, that people already know the ending to. People have played the game. The game is awesome. Right? From everyone who's played it says the game is awesome and people know the endings and they're still gonna fucking drag this whole thing out. Like, come on, bro. I'm trying to think of what they have up the alley. The next big show they have is probably the Harry Potter show. I think they're gonna fuck that up. I hope they don't, but I think they will.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one to be able to pull off, especially because that's also a franchise, like you're saying, that like since it was one of the relevance peak, you think, back when like the last movie came out?
Yeah.
Like that's going to be a whole tough one to land the plane on as well, because you're going to have to reignite some stuff. You're going to have to sort through all of the J.K. Rowling backlash. You're going to have to reignite like people who have never read the books, which is tough because people read less and less every year. So it is, I wish them the best. It's kind of I have a hard time picturing it happening. Like they're doing Welcome to Derry. So Stephen King source material is usually, it's got an inconsistent reputation and adaptation form, but there's potential there. The new show they have, Duster, is solid, but it's not that well marketed. I don't know if they're even lining up the Penguin for a second season yet. I know they talked about wanting it, but I don't know if it's fully locked in to this point. So I think the Night of the Seven Kingdoms is their next Thrones offering, and I hope that they give that enough room to breathe. I'm a little skeptical, but I'm obviously going to tune in. I want to see the quality that we used to see, just like you're saying. I just am a little tired of these shows that could be 9 and 10 out of 10s ending up as like 7 out of 10s.
Yeah, that's exactly it, bro. They're ending up as 7 out of 10s. Like this season could have been a 9, like you said, 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 if you just actually fully fleshed it out. Dude, I mean, like True Detective season 4 was absolute fucking trash. and they're re-upping.
Could have been so much better.
Yeah, the same lady who wrote that is gonna write season 5. I don't know how those ratings passed. That was absolute ass. It was devastating too. Is like you go back and you watch, like we're breaking down The Wire right now, right? Like to me the greatest show of all time. HBO has 2 of the top 5 shows of all time in The Wire and The Sopranos. Like that shit put HBO on the map. And if you go back, dude, The Wire season 1 has like 13 episodes. You know, season 2 has like 13 episodes. So I get it. We're in a different landscape, but you can't convince me that it's a money reason, or like you can't like I'm not buying that. That's fucking bail. I'm not letting them get away with that fucking bail. It's just pure laziness. It's them just thinking we can do the least to still attract people. It sucks because you and I break these shows down. But dude, if Apple starts dropping more heat, I mean, we might have to start breaking down more Apple TV shows. Like, I don't give a fuck if it's HBO. If it's whoever has the heat, we'll just go there and break it down. You know what I mean? So if they want to do shit like this and just like they're just giving a fuck you to all of us. That's what it is. It's just a consistent fuck you. And eventually, I'm just gonna leave. Like, I pay for my HBO subscription, but if they keep fucking around, I will end up being one of those people who just cancels and then only log back in to watch a show. Like I've been loyal enough to HBO where I'll pay even on the months where I'm not watching a show. I'm like 50-50 on whether I keep doing that now.
Fair.
All right, well, hey, that does it for the season. Sorry about some of the earlier audio issues, guys. We're trying to figure things out with volumes and stuff, but we'll be back like this summer. We're gonna be breaking down the rest of The Wire. So we'll be working on that, and then we'll see what's in the pipeline for new shows. Just keep posting on our channel. We'll drop community posts on what we're gonna be doing next and stuff like that. But any other thoughts, Damon, before we end this?
No, I think we got it. I think we should have a nice summer in store. Stay tuned for those Wire recaps.
Absolutely. All right, man.